Okay, so hello class. Thank you for coming to the class today. Again, I would like to make sure that you complete all the missing tasks or assignments or homework on Google Classroom. As I mentioned before, you are going to have 10 marks for class participation. The class participation is responding to my questions and communicating in the classroom, and as well as responding to the posts, general posts on Google Classroom. Another 10 marks are given for my observation as a teacher, observation of you, how you respond, and about your present time in the call. Do you know that the Zoom automatically calculates how many minutes you are present in the classroom? So attendance is really, really important, and not only being in the class, and when I speak to you and you do not respond, this is not considered being in the class. So you have to respond to me, whether by speaking up or writing in the inbox or even writing in the chat box. So any task that we get in the classroom is really, really important. So for those of you who missed some of the information, the session is recorded, and each recording for each unit is placed in the Google Classroom. Let me see if I can share with you and show you how to find the recording. Okay. So I'm going to share the Google Classroom here. Hope you can confirm that you can see everything. So if you start from here, this is your syllabus, okay, all of it. This area is for our classroom communication. As I mentioned before, it is important for you to respond by commenting on those posts, because this is what I consider classroom communication. So we are now in Unit 3, which is about drama. We are studying the play The Tempest by William Shakespeare. So last class, apparently some of the names were present in the call, but actually you are not responding. When I was talking to you and asking you to respond to the main question and the post, I didn't see enough response. So please make sure you respond to those posts. Again, I'm telling you, it's good that you are all present today. My dear students, we have guests, inspectors coming from the ministry. They are not going to give you any credit unless they see your work here. This is your proof that you are participating and working in the classroom. So it is important to give me something here. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to add whatever comment you can give here. First of all, can you confirm you can see my screen and you can enter the classroom and respond by writing any response? And as you can see, for those of you who write anything, I respond. See here, what did I say? Excellent response, yes, sir. So it is important for me to mention your name, because I'm going to give you good marks. I cannot give you marks out of 20 and you're not responding here. They will ask me, how come you give them marks and we cannot see any response here? So I'm going to stop to make sure that you understand. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Can you please respond in the chat box by saying yes or no, or any questions?
Yes.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you so much for speaking up. To be honest, class, this is the first time for me to meet with a class. They do not speak or have the camera on. So I respect that, but at least you need to respond to my questions. Okay, so this is the first point we need to discuss. your participation under the posts for discussion in the main hall for the classroom. Now let's move on to the recordings. You mentioned where are the recordings? So, okay, if you go down here, this is all the work we have, right? So all the assignments are here. As you can see here, look at that. July 23, Averroes Academy posted a new material, recordings of classes week 3. You click on them, you will see the classes that you have missed. And the recording is not too much because, as you can see, I give you time to work on your own or to do activities. So the actual recording time is not so much. Like you see, 36 minutes, 22 minutes, 38 minutes. Hopefully you can see them. So can you, I'm gonna stop sharing to confirm that I wanna see in the chat box. Do you see, are you able now to see the recordings on the Google Classroom?
I can see it.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you. So again, everyone, if you go back to the classroom here, you can definitely see what you have missed. You can click on this. You will hear me giving you the instruction and sharing the videos with you. Sharing the worksheet here, this one, if you, for those of you who, okay. Okay, so this is here. I just wanted to share with you. That was one of the exercises that I shared with you as classwork. Okay, so this is one thing. If you click on the next one, this is another class that probably you have missed. If we move on, as you can see, we did the hills of the white elephants and so on and so forth. You always go here, check all the activities here. So we have the coordinator of the school. She always makes sure that she provides the recording here in this area for you to find. So this is week 2 and this is week 3. If you look at week 3, these are the sessions. If you go to week 2, these are our sessions. It was about the short stories, remember? So you go back here and then we look at any missing work also shows here. So that's why I always tell you, I'm now recording, I'm gonna stop recording. When we discuss things, I stop recording because I respect your privacy. And if we needed to discuss in the private chat, is fine. So I stop recording. I run the recording only when I am teaching or when you are responding. Just look at that here. This is one of the class activities here. Think about the code below and try to analyze it. This is an excellent response from Jawad. So when the people from the ministry come and tell me, why did you give Jawad 10 out of 10 in class participation? I would definitely have the evidence, the proof. So please, everyone, I ask you like kindly and politely, please participate here because this will save you and save me the questions when the inspectors come to check your work. This is number 2. Number 3 is also, again, if you go to Google Classroom and look at the part of the assignments or class assignments here, classwork, look at that. These are all the class assignments, okay? The homework, the quiz, the grammar quiz, all the quizzes are here. So you have to make sure you did them. Look at, allow me to share, but I'm gonna share quickly because I take care of your privacy. But again, just to give you a heads up, here is the grades. These are your names. Look at the missing. When something is missing, I don't have grades for you. So please make sure that you do all your work in order for me to give you marks. Okay? What I said now is clear, or do you have any questions? Is there anything you don't? Okay, perfect. Thank you, yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, so this is what we call a bit of housekeeping, is a bit of information about the how to navigate through the Google Classroom. It's not there only for you to submit your assignment or to do your end of unit test or class test. It's there for your communication. Imagine if you are in a regular classroom, what you do with the teacher, you use the blackboard or the whiteboard for communication, right? And the teacher asks you questions, whether it is in groups or in individual students to answer. So this is the replacement of the actual classroom. We use Google Classroom, the chat box or the posting area for you to communicate. So when I give you a task, you need to communicate in the area for posting. Okay? All right. So last class, we had a discussion about the terminology that you will be dealing with in drama. When you are studying drama, you will be, in the exam, you will be also asked certain questions related to the glossary of drama terminology. I already had this class previously, but I'm gonna go quickly through the terminology very quickly, because you will be working on them today. We will be doing Act 1, Scene 1, and Scene 2 from The Tempest. This is available in the recording, and again for you, if you wanted to, take notes while we are discussing, that would be great. So the most important thing here is, for me, I want you to know the meaning of protagonist, antagonist, meaning the hero, the main character, the good character in the story. Antagonist is the opposite. Aside is really important. What is aside? Is when the actor on the stage wants to tell you as audience something and they don't want the other characters to hear it. The catastrophe is something related to tragedy, when there is something like, the story ended by death or failure, or anything that is not a happy ending, we call it a catastrophe or a tragedy. Comedy is the opposite. Comedy is something that ended happily. It doesn't necessarily mean, look at that, it doesn't necessarily mean it's comedy like funny, like everybody laughs. No, comedy, it means ended happily, and sometimes you call it romantic. There is love and there is romance and so on. So differentiate this, because everybody knows that comedy is ha ha ha, like fun. But no, comedy is ending in a happy ending, or sometimes there is some kind of romance. Comic relief usually comes after hard and dramatic situation, like revealing a secret, or like, discovering that somebody is betraying. A man discovered that his wife is betraying him. But there are some events right after this scene, what we call comic relief, to lessen the anxiety of the situation. Conflict, we talk about it. The conflict is the problem that the character can have with other characters or inside himself. Like Hamlet, if you know the story of Hamlet, is a young man who knew that his mother and his uncle conspired together to kill his father, and the uncle would marry the mother and make her the queen, and he becomes the king. So Hamlet, all the time, all the story, he is hesitant. He is thinking, shall I take revenge or not? All the time he has the conflict, what we call inner conflict. Okay, and I like you to know the dialogue. What is dialogue? It's the conversation between the characters. Soliloquy, it's the conversation, but inside the head of the character. The character in the soliloquy talks to you as audience. In a dialogue, the character talks to other characters on the stage. So it is important because I will ask you questions. What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? And how to apply on the scene. Okay, we know the diction, of course, is the choice of words that the author uses. Dramatic monologue, again, the monologue is when the character is talking only the one person. Now, another important thing for you to know about the types of drama. You have fable, you have fiction, you have satire, you have tragedy. These are types of drama, types of drama. So fiction is imaginary. It is not a true story. Like The Tempest. What you were studying in Unit 3 is The Tempest by Shakespeare. It is based on imaginary story. So when I ask you a question, what is the type of The Tempest? You're going to tell me it's a fiction based on imaginary story. Okay? The fable is a story that the writer wants to give you a lesson or a moral, but only on the tongues of animals. So the author uses animals as characters. Like if you read George Orwell, a great story, Animal Farm. I advise you to read it. It's really, really wonderful because it talks about lessons to be given to people, but on the tongues of animals. When we have flashback, you will see like some part of The Tempest when the characters talk about an event that happened before the story started. So this is what we call flashback. Foreshadowing, this is exercise you will be doing in a minute now. I will ask you to figure out what is the foreshadowing that is in Act 1, Scene 1, Scene 2. Foreshadowing meaning there are certain incidents or certain words the characters say to prepare you as audience for the next event. So it's a hints or events or incidents of what is yet to come. So you understand, okay, the mother now lost the key because later on she will not be able to find her kid, for example. Okay? Gesture is really important on stage because you are going, when I ask you what is gesture, you're going to tell me it's the physical movement of the actors or the character during a play. You will see, as you will see now, the character move from one side to the other side. Irony is really important. I want you to figure it out, to understand what is the irony. When I see, for example, a bad person or an evil person meets another person and they tell them, you know what, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you to be successful. But in reality, they are not going to help them. They are lying, or there is some kind of irony. Props, and I want you to pay extra attention to props. What is props? It's the articles or the objects or the hat or the sword or the flower or the jacket or anything that the character uses or holds on the stage. Satire is again a story to criticize a certain behavior in human beings. So I can ask you, what is the difference between a satire and a fable? So I want you to take care of these definitions. It's important to, and all the definitions, all the recording will be on the Google Classroom. The stage direction, again, it's the playwright, like Shakespeare, describes Shakespeare between brackets. Like you see, between brackets, they tell you what is the actor doing here. So in Hamlet, for example, Hamlet puts his hand on his heart. So you understand in between brackets, what is the stage direction. Hamlet is descending the stairs from upstairs. Or Hamlet watches the ghost on top of the castle. So this is the stage direction. Okay, the tragedy, again, we spoke about tragedy. It's the type of a drama or play that ends bad ending or in death. All right, any questions so far? Okay, so let me go back to, please tell me if you have any questions or if you don't understand anything, because sometimes when I give you the task, I see you still asking questions. So it's better to ask me now, because I want you to do the task in a very good way. Any questions so far? Okay. Any questions? Lareen, Yasser, Muhammad, Jawad? I just hope that you are in the class. It's much better that you are, like, you know, responding and so. Because I really care for you to get learning, not only just doing the work. Okay, so as you can see here, again, this is a proof of your work. What you will be doing now, we are in Unit 3. It's a drama, The Tempest. Write in bullet points the summary of the plot and the play. That was last time, and nobody responded to that. So your task now is Act 1, Scene 1 and 2. What you will be doing, you will be analyzing the following. So now your main concern, I'll let you watch a video, short videos, very short videos on Act 1, Scene 1, and Scene 2. What you will be doing, you are going to write about the following elements, right? About the following elements of drama. Okay. Let me just make this correct. Okay. Okay, number 1, you are going to write about foreshadowing. Any foreshadowing you can see. Number 2, you're going to write about the characters introduced. The characters that are introduced in Scene 1 and Scene 2. You are going to talk about the rising events. You are going to talk about stage props. Do you know what is the meaning of a stage props? Stage movement. Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yeah.
Perfect. And you are going to talk about any figurative language. And of course, you know what is figurative language. So it is there. Here is the activity. Every one of you should write something about this. I am not now, I'm not so much caring that you write everything like clear, no mistakes. It's okay, because this is classroom discussion. I am not so asking you to be no problem, everything is fine. Even if there are any spelling mistakes, it's okay, because we are learning now. So again, let me share again one more time here. The task that you will be doing after watching the video. You will watch the very short, simple, easy video for Act 1, Scene 1, and Scene 2. When you watch it, this is to give you a little idea. It's okay to check online. Here, I would allow you to look online, but please do not just copy and paste. You can look online and respond to what you read using your own words. Foreshadowing, meaning which events you think in scene 1 and scene 2 would lead to the peak, to the top of the drama, the plot, okay? You are going to tell me who are the characters introduced in scene 1, scene 2. You are going to tell me what are the rising events. The foreshadowing is kind of telling you or giving you hints what will happen later on, what will happen, the big problem, what is going to happen. But here the rising events maybe the character 1 and character 2 are meeting each other. Probably character 2 and character 4 will fall in love later on. Or character 5 and character 1, maybe they will have a fight. So any of those you can just write about. Stage props. What are the materials that were mentioned? Like any character, are they having a sword? Are they having a stick? One of them was having a horse. Is there a hat? Any of those, like the things that are used in the scene 1 and scene 2. The stage movement, I want you to write about who moved from where. You can tell me character 1 moved from this side to this side, or the character, the girl moved from here to here. So let me see how you understand the stage movement. And any figurative language, of course, remember, we had a repetition, we had simile, we had a metaphor, we read about any alliteration, any figures of speech, any figure of speech you can think of, or you feel that here, you know, miss, I think here is so and so. By the way, it's okay if you are not sure. I would respect your thinking and I would like you to think. It's okay. If you tell me, I am not sure, I think here is a simile. Or do you think this can go for alliteration? It's okay. All right. So I am going to stop recording now. Okay. Share with sound. Here we go.
In Act 1, Scene 1 of The Tempest, sailors on board a ship are caught in a fierce, raging thunderstorm on their journey from the north coast of Africa to Italy. As they work to take down the sails to save the ship, the noble passengers, Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Ferdinand, and Gonzalo, come above board. Tensions rise when the boatswain insists that the noblemen return below deck. Furthermore, the boatswain is irritated by the noblemen because they're loud and disrupt the work of the sailors. He bellows at them, "You mar our labor. Keep your cabins. You do assist the storm." When they remind the boatswain of their importance, he points out that while they have authority over men, they have none over nature, which is clearly beyond their control. Sebastian, Antonio, and Gonzalo reappear, and Sebastian and Antonio are rude to the boatswain, calling him names. Gonzalo says that the boatswain should remember the authority of the passengers they have on board. More sailors appear, wet and weary from trying to save the ship. King Alonso, his son, and others pray desperately because it is clear the ship is destined for destruction. The ship breaks apart, and Gonzalo acknowledges that they are all going to drown. The play opens in the midst of a chaotic scene, a tempest, or a violent windy storm that hints at the supernatural power of forces beyond human control. Soon the characters will face more magic on a very unique island. For now, the tremendous power of nature is more powerful than any human, despite the royal authority on board the ship. Whether king or servant, all are human and powerless before storms that they cannot control. The crisis on board the ship reveals both the conflict between the classes and the nature of several of the characters. The class hierarchy on the ship is clear. The sailors do the hard work of sailing the ship, and they are at odds with the demanding, obnoxious noblemen, because the boatswain knows they will all be dead if the sailors cannot save the ship. The first scene of Act 1 also introduces readers to some of the character qualities of Antonio and Sebastian, who respond to the boatswain with harsh cursing. Both men use their authoritative power to verbally abuse someone with less power. This conflict between ruler and subject begins to develop the theme of exploitation and power that will weave its way through the entire play.
So this is very good. We got the idea of the first scene, which is introducing the two characters. I'm not going to say their names because you will be writing that. And again, we are introduced to the most important themes in the play that we will be discussing. I want you to notice the stage props. What are they? What are the characters holding in their hands? Where are the characters now? If you are now on a stage, you are an audience, you are watching this scene on the stage, what you will see? What are the stage props? I want you to write that. And by the way, you can just write that without even going online, but I want you to go online to read the actual act, scene 1 and scene 2. I will share it with you in a minute. But for now, so this is scene number 1. Scene number 1, give us an idea. It's very hard tempest, which is severe wind and snow, wind and rain and thunder. It's a scary atmosphere. Okay, now let's go to scene 2.
In Act 1, Scene 2 of The Tempest, on the shore of their island home, Prospero and his daughter Miranda watch the ship being destroyed in a storm. Miranda suspects that her father's magical powers may have something to do with it, and she asks him to show mercy on the ship's inhabitants. Prospero promises that none shall come to harm. He then tells her the story of what brought them to the island 12 years before, when she was only 3 years old. Prospero was the Duke of Milan. In order to spend more time in his study of books, Prospero put his beloved brother Antonio in charge of some aspects of his government. But Antonio grew more powerful and plotted to seize power from his brother. With the support of the King of Naples, Alonso, Antonio helped to drive out Prospero. But instead of killing Prospero and his daughter, his people put them to sea in a rotting boat. The kind Gonzalo, a Neapolitan in charge of the plan to usurp Prospero, provided them with water, food, clothing, and some of Prospero's books. They landed on the island where they have been ever since. Prospero then reveals the enemies who created this trouble for him were the people on board the wrecked ship. He puts Miranda to sleep. The magical sprite Ariel appears and reports that everyone except the sailors has jumped out of the ship. The passengers are dispersed in groups around the island. Ariel reminds Prospero he has promised freedom, but the spirit has not finished the agreed time of service. Prospero recalls the story of how he rescued Ariel from imprisonment in a tree by the witch Sycorax. Ariel thanks Prospero, apologizes, and promises to do Prospero's bidding. Prospero sends Ariel as a hidden spy to the shipwrecked men on the island. Miranda and her father go to visit the slave Caliban, son of the witch Sycorax. Caliban comes out of his cave cursing Prospero for taking the island, which had belonged to his mother, away from him. Prospero calls him a liar and says he tried to take care of Caliban until Caliban tried to rape Miranda. Meanwhile, Ferdinand, the son of Alonso, walks in with the invisible Ariel singing beside him. Ferdinand remarks on the beauty of the song. Ariel then sings a song that suggests that Ferdinand's father is drowned, which is what Ferdinand believes. Prospero and Miranda enter. Miranda has never seen another man besides her father and Caliban, and she is immediately enchanted by his handsomeness. Ferdinand, in turn, is smitten with Miranda. Ferdinand reveals how he has seen his own father die in a shipwreck. Prospero asks if Ferdinand is a spy who has come to take the island. Miranda is distressed by her father's lack of pity, but she does not hear Prospero's asides that reveal he is merely testing Ferdinand, fearing that winning Miranda too easily will cause Ferdinand to value her less. Miranda pleads with her father for mercy. Ferdinand, ready to be imprisoned, asks only that he might be able to look on Miranda once a day from his prison cell. Act 1, Scene 2 sets the stage for the epic, audience-engaging play and the interweaving backstories of the characters.
So this is like scene 2. It's an interesting play. I'm sure you're going to like it because, again, I just tell you, this story is fiction because it's not real. There is Caliban and there is Ariel. I'm not going to tell you who are Caliban and Ariel, and you have to figure out, are they human beings? Are they real? What is their role? And what do they symbolize? So if for the part about the figures of speech in scene 2, you can think about the use of Ariel and Caliban. Okay, so come back at 7, and then you will be working at the actual reading. Do you have questions, anyone so far? Any questions? Do you know exactly the task? Okay. What you do? Okay. So let's discuss the first one. So just in order to understand Shakespeare's language, and maybe you could tell that I am so much interested because when I was in the university, I studied English literature, and Shakespeare was my best. Everybody was not so happy. And I shared a video with you why the language of Shakespeare is not so easy, because he used the Old English form, and the many words used are Latin. However, luckily, we have the kind of translation in modern English. So I'm going to work with you, Act 1, Scene 1, to show you how to find your way. So this is here the master, boatswain, and same word in the translation. And here, master, what cheer? You might not understand what does what cheer mean. So the translation is, here I am, sir, what do you need? So don't worry and don't be afraid when you are reading Shakespeare. It's okay to read the translation. So this is obviously in the first scene when there is the storm and the rain and everybody is scared. So the master is asking, what is happening? And the boatswain, meaning the crew, one of the crew, said, what do you need? So good speak to the mariner, fall to ya yarly, or wherein ourselves a guard, bester. What does this mean in modern English? It means, good man, speak to the sailors. Look at mariner. Mariners is coming from marine. Remember, even in English, we say marine life, which is the sea life. So mariner is the sailors. To get them, this abbreviation, it means to get them working harder. Do it quickly, or we are going to be shipwrecked. Move. Bestier, this is all the English meaning move. So guys, so for now, what is the foreshadowing that you can see in the first scene? You could tell from the hints here that something grave is going to happen. A disaster is going to happen. people might drown, people might die. So the foreshadowing here, even it gives you hint to what will happen later on in the plot of the play or the story. And then for the stage props here, the stage props, what are they? You could definitely tell me there is a ship and lots of water, rain, and the ship is rocking in the waves. How would that be done on stage? If you ever attended drama on stage here in Canada, you would see that this scene might be represented by a splinter of water coming from up in the stage and something to rock on. So these are stage props. So the very first few lines, I could tell what is the foreshadow and what is the stage props and the directions. If you look at the direction, how would you imagine? Is it like steady, everybody facing the audience, or it is in a chaotic scene, everybody running here and there, or at least rocking because it is a severe tempest? Okay, so this is how you figure it out. Usually in Shakespeare's plays, he starts with the least important characters, but they are ominous or they are going to give you some indications. So the master exits, meaning that the person who is the crew master or the big sailor exits, and the translation is here. That's why you will find it repeated, okay? Sailors enter and the sailors enter. Five height my heart's Shirley, my heart's yar, take it the topsail. Tend to the master's whistle blow, till thou burst thy wind, if more enough. Look at this. Thou burst thy wind. What is the figurative language here you can find? Think it over. Thou burst thy wind. Look at the alliteration, the sound here, the music that you can see in thou die. Okay, and also look at the onomatopoeia. The onomatopoeia is the sound of the wind burst. It's like when you say swish, swish, swish. This is the sound of water falling down to the ground. So you have two figures of speech here in this very line. Okay, now the translation, what does this mean? It means come on. So hi hey means come on. My boys, my hearts, my boys. This is the translation. Cheer up, my boys. Quickly, pull down the topmast sail. So you can say that here is a figurative language, a full picture. The full picture with sound, with movement. You can see that Shakespeare, you can write here, Shakespeare drew a vivid picture of a ship that is about to wreck, with the sounds of the wind, sounds of the rain, and the shouting of the sailors, and the screams to quickly try to hold the topmost. What is the topmost? Is the post that holds the sails on a ship. Okay? Follow the master's whistle, the commands. Blow your wind until you have nothing left to blast. We will survive as long as we have enough room to maneuver without running aground. Running aground meaning without falling to the ground. So they here summarize a plan to survive. They talk about a plan to hold tight in the severe tempest. Okay, so this is again here, the two repeated lines is the translation. Alonso, here is the first introduction of one of the most important characters in the play. So he started saying, Good Bestwin, have care. Where is the master? Play the men. It means good boatswain, meaning, hey guys, something similar to that. Be careful. Have care in modern English is be careful. Where is the master? Clear that it is the same meaning. Where is the master? The master meaning the head of the crew. Urge these men to work harder. Play the men. Like when you sometimes, even in Arabic, you have certain abbreviations or certain words, like even in French, when we say allons-y, meaning let's go, okay? So it's kind of certain word or certain language. So now when you speak about the diction of Shakespeare, these are all words of hurry up, is words to push the men to work harder, push the men to survive and to save the ship from drowning. Now, I pray now, keep below. It means I pray now. It means in modern English, I ask you, please stay below deck now. Just hide under the deck. So again, the deck is one of the stage props. You can also mention the ship, the post here, the topmost. The topmost is the pillar that the ship depends on. So these are the stage props. And another one is the deck. Where is the master? Boatswain. Where is the master? Same meaning. Do you not hear him? You mar our labor. Keep your cabins. You do assist the storm. Can't you hear him shouting commands? You are interfering with our work. He wanted to say you are interfering with our work. Stay in your cabin. Look at this. Keep your cabin. Keep your cabins, meaning remain in your cabin. You are helping the storm. What does you are helping the storm? And this is again figure of speech. You are helping the storm. Who can tell me, who of you, who is smart enough, you studied that in poetry, who can tell me what is the figure of a speech here? You are helping the storm. Can you write in the chat box what is the figure of a speech here? Are you in the class, all of you? Are you following? Jawad, Yasser, Lareen, Muhammad. Are you in the class?
Yeah.
Okay, Jawad, thank you. You are smart. Okay, so what do you think the figure of speech here when he is telling him, yes, thank you, Lareen. When he is telling him, you are helping the storm. Remember, who would need help? Do you think a storm needs help? What is the figure of speech here? Starting with P-E-R. Who can finish the word? Per, so, huh? Who can finish? Per, who needs help? Excellent. Bravo, Jawad, bravo. This is personification. So this is how you analyze Shakespeare, and this is how you start loving the work of Shakespeare. In all my life, when I teach English course, all the students are not so happy about Shakespeare. They find it hideous or hard or difficult. But when you stop at it bit by bit, scene by scene, act by act, and you start looking at the modern English, and you start analyzing and looking at the hints giving and looking at the wonderful language he uses, you start to enjoy it. So absolutely there is personification here. So here in this one, we have alliteration and we have onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is the sound of the elements of nature, like voo. Like the sound voo is the sound of the wind. So burst is the sound of wind too, like with the thunder and the storm and so. So here, when you see he's telling him you are helping the storm. Here is a personification. Okay? Nay, good, be patient. So nay meaning no. I think it is obvious. Nay, it's no. Be patient. So please be calm, my good man. Patient here is be calm and also a good person. When the sea is hence, what cares these roars forth the name of king? Look at this. Hence, king. There is rhyming here. Hence, king. To cabin, silence, trouble us not. Look at the symmetrical divine here, the syllabus here. To cabin, silence, troubles us not. Music, you can feel the music here. To cabin, silence, troubles us not. So the translation is, I will be calm when the sea is, get out of here. These waves don't care that someone's here is a king. Get to your cabins and be quiet. Stop bothering us. Look at the irony. There is irony here too, because he is a king, but he has stolen the kingdom from Prospero. And later on, again foreshadowing here, in a minute, they are going to meet the real king, the king that they stole his kingdom from. So wonderful expression here. The king is irony here. The irony is representing the actual king that they are going to meet in a minute. Okay? So good, yet remember whom thou hast abroad. Good man, please remember whom you have got on board. Again, this is the translation. And Gonzalo is another important character that is presented in the first scene. None that I more love than myself, you are a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence and work the peace of the present, we will not hand the rope more. Use your authority. Look at the irony again. Look how kings, when they are in a time of trouble, they become like ordinary people. They worth nothing when it comes to time of trouble or when it comes to time of almost dying. Like when you say a rich man, he lived all his life so rich, luxurious life, fancy cars, fancy everything. But when he goes to grave, he is in authority. He's not in authority anymore. So look at the irony here and the lesson given here, the moral is given here. If you cannot give thanks to have lived so long and make yourself ready in your cabin, the mischance of the hour, if it is so, cheerly, good hearts, out of our way, I say. Look at our way, I say. Here is again rhyming. So look at the figure of speech here, rhyming. So the translation here is not one person that I care about more than myself. I don't care about you. The most important, and look at the man, he's a crewman and he's telling this to the king or let's say the king who stole the kingdom, okay? He doesn't care. When it comes to survival, we don't care. We care for ourselves only. You are a king's advisor. If you can order the storm to stop, look at the irony. Look at how he is ridiculing him. If you can order the storm to stop, okay. It's like you pretend you are the king. Okay, thank you so much. You are the king. So what? Can you ask or order the storm to stop? Of course not. So look at the lesson here. Or negotiate a peace with it. Again, there is personification. He's talking about the storm as if the storm is a human being, a person. Okay? We sailors will all stop working with our ropes and take a rest. That's it. We're gonna die, and that's it. You don't have any authority on me. You are not like a kind of worthless king. We are about to die. Show me your authority. Show me your power. If you can stop the storm, use your authority and do it. If you can't, be thankful that you have lived as long as you have, and go to your cabin and prepare yourself to face death should the worst happen. So it's a time, again, you can comment if you want to say it's an ironical time when the, I'm not going to say servant, but the boatsmen or the crew have the authority. Now, imagine students, when you are in an aeroplane, and if you are like a person who has PhD and you know everything and you studied very well and you went to university, and probably the pilot didn't ever go to any colleges, okay? And then you feel there are turbulences in the air and you feel the airplane might fall. Who do you think in power now? The person who has PhD, or the person who is great, or the person who can fly the airplane? So here is the same situation. The sailor is more important, or the crewmen are more important than the king. The king is nothing in such time. Okay, and the sailors start working with the crew, saying, my boys, so now I'm telling you, get out of our way. I have great comfort from this fellow, Mithkins. He hath no, look at hath no, has no, hasn't, hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Stand fast, good fate to his hanging. Make the rope to his destiny our cable, for our own doth little advantage. If he be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable. Just look at the way of writing. Even at that time, the way of writing was different. That's why the computer would, the Microsoft would identify it as a spelling mistake, but this is the Old English. So the translation for what Gonzalo said is, that man makes me feel a lot more confident. It seems to me that he doesn't look like he has fated to die by drowning. No way, can we die by drowning? We are sailors. Instead, he looks like he is destined to die by hanging. This guy, and look at this, this is again, there is symbol here, because the king stole the kingdom from Prospero. So any traitor is supposed to die by hanging, not by drowning. So you can think that here is a symbolic statement. Here is a symbolic statement. Good fate, hold strong, and make sure that man survives this storm, so that one day he can hang. And look at the irony, because he could tell that this king is going to be hanged one day. He stole the kingdom from another king. May the rope fated to hold him by the neck save us, because the ropes we have on the ship don't seem to be helping us much. If he is not fated to be hanged, then things look bleak for us. All of this dialogue is symbolic, because it refers to the mischief that the king did to the other king. And of course, there is ominous that the end of the king will be not only, not drowning, because as you will see later on, they will be saved. But he is not going to be drowned, but he might be hanged by the actual king, Prospero. Okay, So I did with you the first scene now. I would highly recommend that you would follow the same steps, the same technique. You feel free to, if you want me to share with you where to find the actual script, by all means, I can share that with you. Take your time to work on scene 2. We done scene 1 together. You don't have to do scene 1 now. I gave you an example how to analyze the scene. Would start talking about the events and which part that give you a foreshadowing for the event. Foreshadowing meaning like tanabbuk. Foreshadowing is like what will give a hint for the coming event. You will also talk about the character mentioned in the scene. We already talked about scene 1. You are going to do scene 2, where the little girl will be introduced and Prospero will be introduced to. I want you to write something about the stage props. What are the main important stage props? In scene 1, we talked about the ship itself, the wind, we talked about the post, we talked about the ropes. These are the props. Let's see what are the props in scene 2. And I want you to tell me something about the metaphors or the figurative language used, if there is any alliteration, any rhyming, rhythm, alliteration I mentioned, yeah, a simile or any of those. And also, if you look at the irony in this play, irony plays a role. As later on, I will ask you to write about the theme of irony in this play. So take care, and I want you to count down all the incidents, all the talks that you can add to irony when you start talking about the theme. So far, so good. Have you started liking Shakespeare or not yet? Anyone? So, Jawad, you were asking how long would the task take? So I was talking to you and explaining to you it's almost half an hour for me. And what I did is without writing. What I did is just reading to you and explaining orally. So probably for you, it might take, let's say, between half an hour to 40 minutes maximum, and try to limit yourself to this amount. And again, please, everyone, I want you to write that, and I'm gonna edit the task, the class task on Google Classroom, and keep it only for scene 2, Act 1, scene 2. Do you have any problems, anyone? Do you have anything to ask, any questions? Class? Okay, so I am going to share with you the link here in the chat box, the link for the actual script of the story in Old English, Shakespeare English, and Modern English, to make things easy for you. So for now, please read the Act 1, Scene 2. That's all. I want you to do Act 1, Scene 2. That's it. Is this clear, everyone? And by the way, I'm gonna give you like test on Sunday. The test, it's like it's gonna be like a quiz related to one of the scenes and similar to what we did now. Okay? Any questions? At least tell me, is it clear to you? Do you like the exercise? Do you understand the exercise? Do you know the task, what is wanted from you? Excellent, yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So again, here, this is the task you will be working on, and I'm going to edit. I hope you can see that. And I'm going to make it only scene 2. So since we analyzed Act 1, Scene 1 together in class, you can do the same for Act 1, Scene 2 only. Okay? All right, so I'm going to save the information here. So you, I'm giving you those 6 points to help you figure out what to say. So I think I put it in a way that you really don't have to copy something from the internet. You can just write in your own language. Don't worry about the grammar mistakes. Don't worry about spelling, because I want you to understand so far. Okay? Let me see your response in the chat box. Is the assignment clear? Okay. Please, class, add your responses under the post in the submission part, because again, this is the proof of your class work. I want to give you marks based on what you write. Okay? Go ahead, please. If you are not going to respond, if you are not going to write down in the box, in the post, it means you are in the class and doing what? I want to help you and give you high marks, okay? So class, why don't I see anybody submitting something in the Google Classroom? Are you still working? Are you still working on the assignment? On the class activity? Nareen? Yes, sir. Are you done, class? Okay, hopefully you submitted on the communication area. I'm working now on your tests. Then results. Then results. 40%. 40 and 30. Okay. ماشي أستاذ حسين. Okay. Yeah, I'm working on it. Once أخلصها هبعت لك كل الدرجات. لا يونت 3 إن شاء الله. أوكي. إن شاء الله بإذن الله. Thank you. مع السلامة. So very well done, Larine and Yasser. I was just reading your feedback on scene 2. It's really, really very well done, very good. And I just wanted you to make sure that you put all the points together. Remember that when you are doing analysis, you will be responding in the form of a paragraph. I'm just helping you to dissect the type of question when you are asked to analyze a whole scene or a certain quotation. So bearing in mind that you have to have all the elements that I dissected for you. So very good response, and would like to see if you have any questions so far. Any questions? Okay, perfect. So you still have like 25 minutes or so till the end of the class. And because you did very good in that exercise, I would give you the opportunity to choose what you want to do in this 25 minutes. What do you want to do? Do you want to kind of watch a movie related to Shakespeare? You wanted to read something about Shakespeare? Do you want to kind of watch a movie related to the plot of the story? What do you want to do? If you can tell me. Or even if you want to make use of this time to do your leftovers, any homework that is not done, any assignment. I'm now working on your grades. So if you have anything that is not finished or something that you haven't submitted yet, you have the liberty to do that. Whichever you choose, because you earn this time, you earn this ability to make use of your time. You have been using your time in a good way. That was shown in your response to the class activity. I can assure you, you will get a full mark for the class activity interaction for this unit. So any whatever you want to do now. Can I? Yes, of course, yes, sir. I wish that you can work on your homework. Absolutely, no problem. Larine, the same thing. I haven't checked. Did you submit your grammar test, the reordering? If you did it, that is fine. If you didn't do it, please do it because it's worth 10 marks. Can you confirm? Okay, perfect. So if you have any past homework, of course, Jawad, you left and I don't know, I really don't know how come you leave the class. Let me stop recording because I don't want that to be like